There's a rush on to implant a computer interface in your brain, and Elon Musk has already done it.
Then it's called the Singularity, and it's not really science fiction anymore.
And quick, look up. There's more falling space junk, and it could be a real problem.
I'm Stephen Rosenbaum, and this is Future Forward.
I'm Alexa Scordato. Let's launch.
So I gotta say, it's going to be really hard to not make some version of this show all about Elon Musk.
I was going to say, did you stay up last night and watch SNL?
I did. It was fascinating. It was fascinating.
I didn't watch all of it, but I did watch like the opening monologue, and I just felt awkward the whole time.
Yeah, I would say that's right. I mean, I guess I'm not surprised he's on the spectrum, but I don't think I knew that as a fact in my head.
No, I had no idea he had Asperger's. Yeah.
But we have 3 chapters today, and they're all different. So we're going to do brain-machine interface, which BMI, which Elon plays a role in. Then we're going to talk about the Singularity, which arguably is Elon.
Elon plays a role.
Yeah. And then we're going to talk about falling space junk, which of course is Space Stories, which Elon plays a role in.
Elon has a role in. Yeah.
So, but you know, deservedly so. All right. So should we just start with the BMI story and just dive in?
Let's just get into it, and just to clear it up, we are not talking about weight. This is not about your body mass index.
No, exactly right. It is. That's exactly correct.
Most people would think BMI and say, "Oh, are they talking about weight loss?" And we're not.
Yeah, no. BMI, which is why we didn't use it in the show open as an acronym because it's confusing. Brain machine interface. This is a big and growing area of science.
Yeah, and I think we covered this
months ago
when it was first kind of announced or the pilot was happening, but there's been progress made. So there's been a chip implanted into monkeys' brains, and they can
now turn on and off the lights in your house
and like play ping pong.
Yeah,
virtual ping pong.
So here's the thing. It's easy to put this in the "that's crazy" catalog. I'm never going to let anybody open up a slice in my brain and put a chip in it, right? And I think we did have this conversation, and yeah, we did have this conversation, and you were in favor.
I'm like 10,000%. Like if something happened to me, if I lost like use of my limbs, if I was not nearly as mobile, I would 10,000% just be like, put it in there.
So it's going to happen. And the thing is, of course, they're starting with medical and things that are urgent, and you've lost functionality and you need to get it back. But how long is it going to be before you get to walk up to for example, Spectrum Cable? Every time I call them, they say, we can turn on voice recognition so that you don't need to log in anymore.
Right.
And I'm like, no, don't want you to have my voice print. Thank you very much. Which is weird because they kind of already do. But like, there are all kinds of things that are voice now that you might like to be brain controlled.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about, was it the clap thing? Like with lights, like clap on, clap off. And now you have Siri and Echo and all of these Internet of Things devices. Like people are definitely, whether they like it or not, moving towards a world where they want more automation in their lives. And so I think we are almost getting primed for this technology.
I was looking in my Amazon history the other day for something I needed to reorder. And I don't know why, but I went back a little ways and typed in, I guess, LED or something, and was shocked at how many Alexa controllable things I've bought in the last 2 years. Shocked.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, everyone just keeps saying my name and bossing me around. I'm at my sister-in-law's, and last night it was like, Alexa, play 90s playlist. Alexa, set a timer. I was like, oh my gosh.
oh, that's, I not that you're a litigious person, but I gotta think there's a fantastic class action lawsuit there. Of all the people whose names have been disrupted by the company.
Yeah.
Because they don't let you like theoretically, you could say to your sister-in-law, hey, can you rename your device Joe or Sally or something so we don't conflict in, but you can't.
There are two other options, but a lot of people don't use it. Echo and computer. And this is a little bit of a tangent, but like coworkers who work with me and then they're on video calls, they get disrupted because they say my name. And some of them have tried to change their device to Echo or computer. And then their kids hate it because their kids have formed like an attachment to Alexa. And so they can't really do it.
All right. So back to brain machine, because that would solve it, right? It would solve it if you could all be quiet. I think the speed of BMI rollout or of innovation is going to be quite impressive.
I think 10 years, within 10 years.
Oh, 10 years is long. I'm talking like 6 months.
No, I mean, I think like a small subset, but in terms of, I'm gonna say the masses, but like, I'm trying to think, because like, sure, within 6 months, I think a human will volunteer and say, I want this. I think within 10 years, you're going to have people electing this surgery or this implant in the way that they elect like Botox and LASIK.
Yeah, see, those two I find creepy. So like, that's like elective cosmetic surgery makes no sense to me. But I think, and by the way, I guess we should roll back to the Elon overlay for a second. Last night was the first moment as I watched him attempt to create a more public persona on television that I thought, is he Einstein? I mean, if you look at his portfolio, certainly SpaceX, certainly Tesla, Solar City, however that's going, the underground tunnels, the Neuralink connectivity. What am I missing? There's more. That's the headline. He bought General Robotics. He bought the dog company yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So if you lay that out kind of in a pie chart of they all fit together into like tech of the future. Like, why did he buy the dog company? What does he need that for? Where does that plug in?
Like robotics and the Singularity.
Well, or maybe he wants to put them in capsules and send them to Mars. Maybe he wants.
There's it's a multi-use purpose for sure.
So you take the Neuralink tech.
Yeah.
You take your brain, you download it to a chip. You then take the chip, you put it in a robot. Then you take the robot and put it in a spaceship. And I guess once it lands in Mars, you push a button and I don't know. I mean, he's got some plan for this.
For sure. I mean, you can imagine substitute teachers, home care. If you're like a distant relative and you need to care for someone, and you could like take your brain and put it into a robot, and then the robot would do all of the things that you do or you would want to do.
Police officers.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, there was a movie, wasn't there?
Teachers.
Oh, come on. I don't get points for the RoboCop reference.
I'll give you points.
All right. And by the way, the question is, do you think he's got some creepy superhero master of the universe take over the planet? Like, what's the thing? Like, he sees all these pieces and how they fit together in a way that we don't understand. What do you think his, like, he doesn't seem to be like save the world, make the world a better place motivated. Like, he doesn't seem to have a human, like, I want to make poor people have better access to clean water, and like there's no philanthropy in that portfolio.
I think it's too small. Like, he can't think about, say, this generation. It's saving future generations and sustaining the human race. Like, his whole MO, and he said it in his monologue last night, we need to be a multi-planetary species. And it's because he has already said in his head, like, messing up the earth, we're messing up the environment. We can slow it down by adopting electric cars and reducing our carbon footprint, but we need to kind of hedge. Like, we need to try to save the planet, and then we also need to get onto other planets. And I think his whole thing is just, it's not about ego, it's about preserving humanity.
I wonder if he's watched The Expanse.
I don't know how he has time to do anything.
The Expanse, the Expanse would suggest that that whole Mars thing doesn't work out so well. All right, so back to brains for a second. Let's us brainstorm together the most, I don't mean cool exactly, but the most unusual and potentially legitimate use of a BMI device. That, like, what is the thing you do with voice or with your hands that you would like to be able to think?
Wait, like a really creative thing or like a mundane thing?
I'm just trying to think of something low, like if you'd said to me 36 months ago that I would be turning on lights and radio and checking the weather and checking news with voice, I would have said never. And it's changed my family. It's changed how people interact in the house. Like, as you pointed out, when people get on Zoom calls with you and use your name with your family, where people talk to the machine using your, like, it's changed behavior. So what's a thing that a BMI device, and do we really think that Neuralink is ahead of everyone else? I mean, there are others,
right?
Like Facebook, for example, which we'll get to in a minute.
I mean, something as simple as like flipping through the channels, or like when you're streaming Netflix or whatever, like if the TV just changed based off of, like, I'm not into this, next.
I spend a lot of time, not a lot of time. I have a list making habit, because like, oh, I have to pick that up, or I have to drop that off, or I have to make sure to order that. Like, I have like it's all low level little things that are going to easily be forgotten, but have deadlines. And I would like to be able to think that,
Right.
Will it have a name?
Yeah.
Let's have it not be Alexa. We could call your Neuralink Steve. You wouldn't have to say it. You could just think it. Hey, Steve.
Right.
Write this down.
I like that. I was even thinking, like, when you're waiting at a restaurant and it's like your waiter, waitress, like, is taking too long, if you could just think your order and then it, like, updates the computer.
Think your order. By the way, think your order is good. I like think your order very much. I very much want to be able to train Alexa to bring me a cup of coffee. Not, of course, the human friend of mine, Alexa, but the robot, also by your name. All right, so let's talk about this Facebook thing. So Facebook acquired a company that the Media Lab knows, um, uh, that has kind of gone silent since it was acquired, but it is now slowly starting to talk about what it's doing in terms of machine interface. This is an article from the very end of March, and talking about their neural wristband. Certainly more easily deployable than something that has to be installed in your head.
Totally. But at the same time, do we want Facebook to have any more access to us, including our pulse? And I don't know. I'm not wearing a Facebook device. Are you?
You're such a funny person. I think I know you and then I don't. So you're willing to have Elon Musk operate on your skull, but Mark Zuckerberg putting something on your wrist, not okay.
I don't trust Mark Zuckerberg anymore. Because I actually think, unlike Elon, Mark Zuckerberg does sort of have this like almighty, I want to control everything complex. If you just look at Facebook's roadmap and how unfocused they are as a company, he's constantly just chasing other products and industries. And I don't think I think he lost his edge as an innovator. And I just look at these moves, whether it's the AR space, whether it's like just even commerce and what they're trying to do there. I don't know. Plus they just messed up. They literally messed up so badly with Cambridge Analytica. They have not done anything to redeem themselves and earn my trust as a consumer. And so they're done, dead to me.
So here's why I entirely, totally, and unambiguously disagree with you. Because at the end of the day, companies aren't people. Companies are companies. People build companies, they run companies, and then they either retire or die. This is a known fact. So, well, except Elon, who might install his brain in a robot dog, and then that's another matter. But like, I think the question, certainly Microsoft is a different company today than somewhat. Google, somewhat. The difference is that Elon doesn't have an advertising motivation, and Facebook does. So that, I understand the difference, but I think it's worth spending some time, poking around at the wristband, only because that, Facebook has had a spotty history with devices, right? Their phone was a disaster. The show, whatever, their panel, not so great. But in terms of the living room smart speaker, they're killing it. And I think that if you look at this article, this is in Morning Brew, and basically it's a device being built by the company that they purchased, Control Group. And they presented it at the Media Lab event a couple of years ago. I could imagine, I don't know when, Christmas this year, there being a $129 Facebook, Alexa branded wristband.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like Scott Galloway has predicted, hardware is definitely in their future because they need to control distribution.
Yeah, I see that. All right, so let's. But
isn't it interesting that between the Apple Watch and then this, it's like big tech companies are competing for wrist real estate in the way that you might compete with like billboards or airtime or like attention in Times Square, that now the hardware tech game is like physically how many things am I willing to wear?
Yeah, here's the weird thing about the Apple Watch. I am a long time.
I don't know. I think it's going to be a zero-sum game. Like you're either Apple Watch or Facebook.
I can't imagine wearing an Apple Watch.
Really? But you're such an Apple dude.
I just don't think I need another, I mean, as it is, I was talking to someone the other day about the fact that I now sit in front of my Apple computer holding my iPhone. They are now so integrated. I really can't use one without the other.
And it's so weird because yesterday I was talking to a friend and he has an iPhone and an Apple Watch, but his computers are all PCs. And I was like, why do you have
Well,
an Apple Watch if you're not like a Mac guy? And he's like, this thing is so useful. Complete
fascinating.
opposite of you.
All right, Singularity. So first of all, just to bring our audience up to speed, for the three of you that don't know what the Singularity is, the Singularity is a Ray Kurzweil construct that suggests there is a moment when machines and humans will meet and at a crossroads, and the connection between machines and humans will become indistinguishable, and machines will take on human characteristics. And there was a film made about the Singularity and about him, has to have been 10 years ago, that I watched. And I mean, he's a kooky is not the right word, although it probably is. He's a out there dude. That being said, the Singularity has always been this science fiction-y thing. But I think we could argue, sitting here today, that we are if we're not at the moment that you would define as the Singularity, we're awfully closer every moment.
We're closer, but I still think we're far.
Tell me why.
I just think there's still such a gap in terms of the number of people who are on the internet, in terms of the fail states of the technology that we have, and in terms of the maintenance required to sort of keep the technology going at like peak performance.
Well, I didn't say it was going to work.
Oh. Because for me, Singularity means like 100% adoption. Like everyone is on the system, and humans and robots live alongside one another.
The fruit stand on the street down the block from my house takes payment via Venmo.
I've seen ATMs with Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean we're trending there, but I still think we're a little ways away.
All right, so well, I guess we almost need to do a show on the Singularity and dig into the positives and negatives of how close we are. I mean, people keep putting it about 10 years out. I mean,
did you see
the phrase that they keep using is no. No, should I?
I think it's worth watching. It's the Hulu documentary, and the Singularity is brought up there because of SoftBank. So anyway, we can circle back on that in a future episode.
I mean, Singularity, as it's being defined, is either post-human or transhuman. And it's hard to like be a fanboy for like, yay, let's get into that post-human, transhuman moment. Like, I'm good with human. Human works for me. I mean, you take Elon Musk's dog and you connect it to transhuman technology.
Yeah.
All right. Last but not least, we got to just spend a minute or two on space junk.
Yep. So were you nervous about stuff falling from the sky?
No, not nervous. Disappointed.
What? Why?
I don't know. It's got to be some version of like those storm chaser crazies. Like, I didn't want it to fall on my head, but I wanted it to fall like nearby.
Not in the ocean, right? You wanted to be able
to in
like...
the ocean. The ocean nearby would have been okay. I just felt a little left out.
Okay. Well, there's like teams of people who like track space junk falling. You
Why
could
did
be
our
one of
federal
them.
government say? Why did our federal government say they wouldn't shoot it down?
Um, I don't know. Was it like the consequences of that? Like, does it
The
set
thing
a
I didn't understand.
precedent? Because then all of a sudden people can like shoot things in the sky and be like, oh, we thought we were shooting space junk. And instead it was like a commercial
Satellites.
plane or satellite. Yeah.
I guess what I didn't understand was, and again, I'm not a astrophysicist, but like it seemed to me that if you knew there was this thing and you were tracking it, that the rate of decay was predictable, and that actually where it would break, like I just assumed that there was some way that it would have, found its way. Excuse me, I'm being harassed by spam calls. Go away. Um,
Yeah.
I thought we would know
I
more
don't know.
clearly where it was going to land.
You would
All
think.
right, can we get the next one?
Sure. This is actually the concern with like Space Link. So that's also Elon's like new initiative to have to be a satellite provider for internet. It's like if he has like hundreds of low-level satellites in the atmosphere, there's going to kind of be space pollution, and then there's a risk of these objects potentially falling.
All right, we're going to leave space junk aside. It's been a good week. Next week is going to be fascinating. Every single device is now
Wow,
ringing
they're
like
like
crazy. So, I, have a good week. Keep an eye on Elon now that he's super famous, and we will
and
return next
don't
week.
buy Dogecoin.
Don't buy Dogecoin. See you next week.